1, 2, 3.
Coming up on today's 3 Grand Weddings.
I think it's so important to have nice photos because they're the one thing that you keep from your day.
Straight to me, Mum. Good, smiling.
I've challenged 3 couples who are getting married in the next 3 months to budget their wedding on just £3,000. Each week leading up to the wedding, they will focus on a different aspect of their day and be marked on how much money they've saved and how creatively they've done it. The winning couple will get the honeymoon of their dreams. But there's a twist. It's not going to be the couples planning their wedding day. It's going to be left to their friends and family. Think they can do it? There's only one way to find out. It's another week on 3 Grand Weddings, and today we're talking about photography. Wedding photos last a lifetime, so it's easy to get sentimental about them, but this doesn't mean you shouldn't seek out discounts, cheap deals and low-cost options. With almost every wedding guest being armed with a digital camera these days, you may decide that you can save on the cost of a professional wedding photographer altogether. If you have friends or family who are good photographers and who wouldn't mind standing in for the day, this is by far your cheapest option. Or why not contact your local art college and find out if any students on the photography course would mind using your wedding as a piece of coursework. Just check that they're responsible and have a good look at their portfolio first. If you decide that going with a professional wedding photographer is a must, then it's essential that you ask them the right questions so that you know exactly what you're paying for. It's all too easy to get caught out on hidden costs, and this can really hike up your wedding budget. Think about making your own wedding album. This isn't only a cheap option, but it's a lot of fun, and it gives you complete control on how your wedding photos are laid out. So those are my tips. Now let's see what the wedding teams have done. Last time our teams helped choose the wedding entertainment that would feature in their couple's wedding. London-based couple Chickadilly and Nkem's team found a fantastic student band, willing to play for free. Today, the couple's friend Opemi and Nkem's cousin Uche, along with wedding planner Becky Gregory, are trying to find the right wedding photographer to capture the couple's big day. Will they end up choosing what Chickadilly wants?
I don't like formal setup. I don't like stiff, posy. I mean, there will be some posed pictures, of course, for the parents to have, but I don't think generally that we like stiff,
we're not
formal
posers,
pictures.
I mean,
no. I'm not a big fan. I think if you had to put me in front of a camera all the time, I'd freeze up. I'd go like this. It will be too forced. So I just want it to be easy and relaxed, you know.
Will they end up choosing what Chickadilly wants?
Hi Opemi, hi Uche, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
So this week we're going to be looking at photography for Chickadilly and Nkem. Rebecca, what do you have lined up for us this week?
Well, Jide, who is part of the wedding team, has very kindly offered to provide the services of either himself or his company to do the photos for the day. He'll also provide all the photos on disc, as well as an album.
An album?
Yeah.
Which can cost, a couple of £100 from a wedding photographer.
A lot of money, yeah. We're very lucky to have him on the team because his company is great and usually very expensive. Our other option is a lady called Layla from Zoom In. She's a professional events photographer, freelance, but she also volunteers teaching at Zoom In.
Which is like a photography school.
Yeah. I did approach Zoom In looking for students because obviously professional photographers cost a lot and on our budget we just can't afford it. But we've been quite lucky. She's not actually a student, so we're kind of doing one better there, really.
Great. What about Chickadilly and Nkem? Have you got any ideas about things they might particularly want from a photographer?
One thing I do know is that they're quite keen not to have Jide take photos.
Oh, why is that?
Because they want him to just sort of actually be a guest at their wedding.
Okay.
So he can enjoy himself.
So that is a potential drawback. We can still choose him, and he's very willing to do the photography, isn't he?
If he doesn't do it himself, he's more than happy to get someone else from his company to do it. For free as a gift to the couple.
Well, let's go and have a chat with them.
Over in Oxfordshire, Martine and Jay's team opted for a barn dance band, which ties in with their country theme, followed by a karaoke DJ for their wedding entertainment. Today, Martine's mum Sue, Sue's sister Linda and top wedding planner Sandy Moretta will be meeting photographers, all hoping to inspire the teams enough to pick them as the one for their couple's special day. But what do Martine and Jay have in mind when it comes to photography?
Quite a relaxed photographer, I think, again with the formal sort of thing. I don't want to be here for pictures, there for pictures.
And I think I'd also like some sort of day shots, just doing what you're doing as opposed to staring down the lens.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think so.
Hi Linda, hi Sue, thanks for coming back again. So you've brought us back to Lane's Barn, haven't you? And this week we're talking about photography. Now I know quite a lot of work's been going on behind the scenes this week, hasn't it? Both from yourselves and from Sandy.
Busy team.
So tell me what you've been up to and what we're doing today.
I've spoken to a couple of local photography schools to see whether or not they had any students that they thought might like to come along.
Because they could even use the wedding as part of their coursework.
Exactly.
In which case they're going to put a lot of effort into
Exactly,
it.
that was my feeling. Unfortunately, nobody could be with us. We've started to look at friends and family, and this is a friend of Simon's and Hayley's, I believe, Martin, Cleveland. He is a professional photographer, he's been at it for years, but because he's a friend of the family, he is prepared also to reduce his rates considerably. So that would be something to look at. Also, we've been looking at professional photographers who have been doing photography for a number of years, but not weddings. We've got one gentleman, Nigel, coming along who Sue found doing the most amazing advert on a wedding forum.
So there are deals to be had for brides looking for a budget yet professional photographer.
And lastly, I have worked with 2 or 3 local, again professionals, but brand new professionals, and James, one of them, will. So again, he's trying to build up his portfolio, hence it being a professional, but obviously he's prepared to do it at a much more reduced rate.
Linda, Sue, Sandy, you've done such a good job finding all these different options, and I'm really impressed that you've found professionals who are willing to give their services for free by using your local connections, by looking around on the internet to see what offers are out there. I think you've done a fabulous job. I just can't wait to see them. Our last couple are Surrey-based Katie and Jeff. Their team chose a children's magician and a local pub band to keep their guests entertained. This time, hunting for that top wedding photographer at a low-cost price are Jeff's mum Anita, Katie's mum and dad Phil and Jill, Katie's auntie Carol and Jeff's best friend Roger. They're joined by wedding planner Emily Ianu. Will they be able to find something to match up to Katie's expectations?
We have got quite a few friends with, digital cameras.
Yeah.
But, if there is space in the budget, it'd be nice to have a professional, just even if it was just one, come in to take one quick photo.
Hi wedding team, how are you doing today?
Fine.
Well, we had a really successful week last week, didn't we?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Doing the entertainment. So this week we're talking about photography, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Now, I know originally we were going to have a family friend to help out with the photography, is that right?
Yes, we were. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it.
I guess there are a few options available.
I've actually found a guy on a website called Digital Photography Forum, and they're for sort of aspiring photographers. He's actually a black cabbie,
right?
And he does photography on the side. It's something that he wants to get into more. He's done a few sort of editorial fashion pieces,
really?
So he's going to bring along his portfolio. He's happy to do it for nothing.
Wow,
yes.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Presumably that won't include an album, will it?
No, it doesn't include an album, but it will include the pictures on a CD.
Are you seeing anyone else today?
Yeah, I managed to get a young couple. They're videographers.
Wow.
They've both got full-time jobs.
Doing other things?
Yes. The guy, Stuart, he's been to university and he's done all the courses and he's got, all the equipment. The only downside is they haven't actually done a wedding yet.
It's a bit of a risk, but not a huge one.
No.
Those sound like 2 excellent options, but there are other ways to get cheap photography, aren't there?
These are disposable cameras that you can get online, and actually I found some that are doing a sale. So they were £25 for 10, but they're actually £20 now. So you get 10 disposable cameras that you can perhaps leave on the tables for the guests.
Those cameras work out at £2 each,
yes,
but there's developing costs on top of that.
Of course.
Well done, Emily. That's 2 great people lined up. Coming up after the break, our teams begin the hunt to find a wedding photographer eager to capture their couple's big day. Our three teams are all hoping they can find the right wedding photographer who can capture their couple's wedding day without capturing what's left of their £3,000 budget. The hunt begins in London, where our team are meeting Jade, a professional photographer who just happens to be friends with the couple.
Hi, I'm Kevin, Chickadilly's wedding team. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So you've brought your portfolio for us to have a look.
Yes, we have. I have a wedding book. This is just examples of different stories from different weddings.
Wow.
So you get preparation of course,
isn't it?
in various moments of various things that
Wow, so the bridesmaids were in white for that one?
Yeah, in that case, that kind of worked quite well.
Yeah. Sorry, I know I meant to be looking at the photography.
So you can imagine in Ken in one of these and the whole team up there. So yeah, I mean, you can basically get a flavour of the various things.
That's a beautiful chair.
Yeah, where was it?
Gorgeous.
Westminster Cathedral.
Oh, nice. What do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Wow,
Amazing, aren't they?
Well done.
Really good.
lovely.
I love confetti shots.
I think it's so important to have nice photos because they're the one thing that you keep from your day. Big or small budget, I think you should always just, try and spend as much as you can on a photographer, generally.
Yeah, I would say go for a more expensive photographer but cut down the hours you have them for.
Yeah.
So just have them for the ceremony and then a few lineups afterwards, and then maybe for the more reportage photos, which are the relaxed ones at the wedding reception. You might find that your friends can do those.
Do that, yes, exactly.
Yeah, these photos are really good.
So am I correct in understanding that you're happy to cover Chickadilly and Enkem's wedding as a wedding present to them?
At the end of the day, they will have something like this from us.
Wow.
Well, most likely someone from the company will sort of look over most of the things, because Enkem being a very good friend to me as well will probably want me to enjoy the ceremony as well.
I see.
Yeah.
I
So in terms of sort of putting all this together, I will oversee all this stuff.
Excellent.
Oh wow, so you would actually give them a book like this?
I will give them a book
Wow,
like this,
that's
yes.
really
yes,
cool.
yes.
And do you think they'll be able to get their photos on the CD as well?
They will get every single photograph that will be taken on the day on the CD-ROM.
That's really good. That's really important, I think, yeah.
Another thing that they will get as well is an online slideshow, which they can, of course, share that with their friends who obviously can't make the wedding, because they've obviously got friends, relatives abroad.
Excellent.
What do you think, guys?
I think all the pictures are fab.
They're just fab.
I actually think they're very okay.
So they're all right, but thank goodness you've lined up someone else for us to see later, haven't
Just
you?
as well. We've got a lovely student called Layla coming. She does events, and she's done a few weddings. So if you didn't know the couple, we probably wouldn't be able. Well, we wouldn't be able to afford your usual prices on our budget. So looking at students is a good way of getting around that.
And it might be that they can use it as part of their coursework. So they're likely to do really, put loads of effort into it because they want to get good marks for it.
Yeah.
I think this is my favourite photo. Thank you so much for coming to show us your portfolio. That's really good, and a really kind offer as well. I think Chickadilly and Enkem would really appreciate that.
There were some amazing photos in that album, but will the team want to put all that pressure on their friend Jade? In Oxfordshire, our team are getting ready to meet a photographer who also happens to have ties with the family.
Martin, you know the brother of the groom, I understand.
Simon, the brother of the groom, yes. What I've said in this particular instance, we'll do it as for free up until the stage of a CD, which includes coverage of the whole wedding, bride's house, church reception or church, wherever it may be. Then post-production work on all the images, where we turn some of the images to black and white, put them on a CD, and the options from there on are, this is actually a PDF of an album that we've just recently done. It's printed in book form, and one of the most popular things with it are the small books that you can get. They work out at something like about £25 each.
What's the more expensive option? Is it the traditional wedding album or the printed book?
To be honest, there's not a fantastic amount in it.
Oh, really?
I think the printed book is probably £100 or so in it.
More expensive?
Yeah. We've said to people before now, when they say, I can't really afford the album, they say, but somebody could buy it for us as a wedding present, or parents could club together. You have to do the certain groups, which we always have a little chat about first. So you do your certain groups, but in between that, we shoot reportage, try and capture the moment as it happens.
So, Martin, it's been great to hear what you get up to, but we'd love to see you in action.
No problem.
Are you able to take a few shots for us?
Yeah, no trouble at all. Okay. Straight to me, Mum. That's great, smiling, happy. Good, smiling. Lovely.
Wow, what do you guys think? I think you look great.
You start realising what we've let ourselves in for now. This is where we're going to be.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful.
No problem.
Well, I think Sue and Linda might have found a new career in modelling there. Over in Surrey, they not only want to capture the big day in still images, they're keen to have it filmed too. So Emily has found a pair of videographers. Hi Emily, hi Stuart, thanks for coming along. So Emily, where did you find them?
Well, I was looking on the internet for some videographers and I came across Gumtree. They'd placed an advert offering their services, explaining that they were, you know, an up-and-coming videographer team. And then I called Emily and here they are.
I understand you haven't done weddings before, but we'd love to hear a bit more about your other experience.
I work in marketing for Sky, B-Sky B. So we just thought, we'd be a really good team. I'll have the marketing business head, hopefully. And Stuart has got all the creativity.
Emily mentioned that you're very kindly going to film the wedding for free because it will build your portfolio. What are the terms of the deal?
We don't have a limit on time. It's in our interest to do the best DVD we possibly can because it's what we're going to be showing to other people. What we're sort of hoping to do as well is to actually film the major parts of the day, all through the day, so you'll end up with like an hour and a half DVD of all the main events going through the day, but also do a highlight section which will hopefully be about 20 minutes long of all the key moments and really good shots that we got, normally with a music overlay, so it's very emotional. You don't hear the people talking. It's slow motion, like images being put on top of other images, so it's really artistic. The camera has the ability to take stills at the same time as filming, and when we play back the footage we can take stills from it at any time. So if there's a moment that's missed that we catch on film, we can just cut it out as a still. We've got a tripod for it as well if we want to set it up somewhere. If we've got another camera by then as well, and Stuart wants to be moving around with the camera, and we'll have another one set up, maybe at the front of the ceremony, so we can see her coming down the aisle, and then Stuart will be ducking about with the other camera.
Very discreet.
Yeah. Another thing that we can do is Stuart's got quite a lot of experience in photo montages, so just getting a load of still images, whether they're prints or not, we can scan them in and put that as part of the DVD. So it's almost like motion, even though they're still images with the music. We could potentially do that for the bride and groom growing up to the point where they meet together at the start of the DVD before their actual wedding day, and all that kind of thing. We could do loads of different things.
How to embarrass them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Well, if you don't have any further questions, Stuart, Emily, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today. That was a real help.
Thank you.
That certainly is a great deal Emily and Stuart are offering. I wonder if the team's going to go with them. Back in London, it's time to meet the second photographer of the day. Hi Layla, thank you for coming to see us.
That's okay.
Can you tell us a bit about your experience and what you do?
I've been a freelance events photographer for the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm also a senior volunteer at Zoom in Photography School, where I work for the marketing team, fundraising team, teach adults and teenagers.
So you actually teach photography?
Yeah, I do.
Mm.
So
Zoom in was where I found Layla. I was approaching colleges and universities to looking for students actually who would want the experience, but Layla's kindly volunteered her services as well.
What sort of style is your photography?
I'd say it's more sort of community, people-based. I've got a very good relationship working with people. A lot of my pictures are dedicated around portraits, but sort of showing the personality of the person or families, and a lot of children portraits as well. And I don't really do much post-production on my work. It tends to be very down to technique, really.
Quite raw. And when it comes to weddings, what sort of experience do you have?
I've got a bit of experience of doing a couple of friends' weddings, not doing it professionally, but I do a lot of events work, so that's kind of similar. Okay. So this is some portraits I've done of my niece in Cyprus.
How old is she?
She was 4 there, but she's now 16.
When it comes to wedding photography, do you do the lineups, or is it more reportage style?
More reportage style.
Is that in Brazil or something?
Oh no, that was Notting Hill Carnival.
So you'd be willing to do it for free, is that
Yes.
right? And you'd provide the photos on a CD?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Brilliant.
We could have a think about exactly what times and let you know. That'd be great.
And then, and what we get are the photos on the CD run.
Yeah.
Great. Well, the photos are great. So.
Yeah, thank you so much, Layla. That was really good.
Coming up after the break, the Oxfordshire team are back at their wedding venue, and just look at the poses the Surrey team are making. Before the break, our teams were hunting for the perfect wedding photographer. Having already gone to a local studio, the Oxfordshire team are back at their wedding venue, meeting with a friend of Sandy's.
This is James McLeod. Quite often I will work with professionals, but perhaps new, younger professionals who are really trying to build up a portfolio, which is very much what James is doing at the
Yeah,
moment.
because I was going to say, on the budget we're dealing with, can we really afford a professional photographer?
Hopefully we can.
Okay.
For this instance, I'm able to offer my time for free. For a DVD of all of the images in high resolution, it tends to be about £400.
What would something like this cost?
We do a similar album to that is A4 in size at a cost of about £270. I've been doing wedding photography for about 2 years now.
How would you describe your style?
I like to take more of a reportage approach to the wedding. But I do like to be able to take clients away for about sort of 15 to 20 minutes, just the bride and groom, to have some photos by themselves.
So you've got this bigger album here. Now, presumably is that slightly more expensive than the A4 album?
It is, yeah. It's actually a coffee table book, but it's got the thicker pages that you get within a digital album. That was in an old bus stop.
An old bus stop?
Wow. In what way do you sort of post-produce the photographs?
Every image in there has been retouched to some degree, yeah. I think this is a brilliant area for a photo. There's a lot of kind of opportunities just within this seating area. I mean, we could have bride on one side of the window, groom on the other.
Don't kiss me, Lucy.
There's loads of photo opportunities outside as well. I mean, there's loads of textures and lines and brilliant colours out here.
I mean, the grounds are really photogenic, aren't they?
Yeah. Mm.
Sue, Linda, do you have any more questions you'd like to ask James?
No, I think he's covered everything.
In that case, thank you so much, James, for coming to talk to us. That was really helpful.
Thank you. It's been great.
Thank you.
So from one wedding venue to another, as our Surrey team meet with the photographer that Emily, their wedding planner, has got in touch with. Hi Graham, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
Emily, how did you meet Graham?
Again, I was looking on the internet and I found him on a website, Digital Photography Forum.
Right.
It's for aspiring photographers that perhaps, you know, looking for work, up and coming, and Graham wants to do a wedding, actually hasn't got a wedding under his belt.
Right.
I mainly do fashion and beauty.
So you know how to make our bride look good?
Yes, certainly.
Well,
yeah.
I think Katie will be pleased with that, won't she?
Yeah.
Well, we'd love to see some of your
Yeah,
artwork.
sure. Okay, I have got some things linked to sort of wedding photography, if you like.
Well, she looks stunning, doesn't she?
It's different styles of photography, I'm sure you're aware. You've got traditional, reportage and contemporary. Obviously, traditional is like before the wedding, we can discuss what shots you actually want and we can plan them so we know exactly what we want for the day. A reportage is a reporting of the day, how it goes along, without people really taking any notice of you. The trouble is with traditional is it takes a lot of time at the bride and groom's day, and that's why people nowadays prefer reportage. Now, I feel that if you do a mixture of the both, but keep it slightly towards the reportage side than traditional, I think that gives the bride and groom more time to socialise. I always give 110% into everything I do, and this won't be any different. I need every sort of angle of the day as well myself for my own portfolio, and that benefits the bride and groom because I can stay from start where the bride's getting ready right the way through to the first dance.
And I see you've got your camera here, Graham.
I have, yeah.
Perhaps you might want to take a few photographs of the wedding team in the position so you can see how they might come out.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I'll take your number after you work for me.
Ladies, you look like you were having an awful lot of fun there.
Yeah, it was good.
I understand you're offering your services for free because you're keen to build your portfolio.
Yeah.
What does that package entail?
What I'm going to include on that is a CD of 100 images.
Wedding team, do you have any more questions for Graham?
No, I don't think so. No, I think we've seen everything we want to.
Thank you so much for coming to see us. That was really good. It really is a day for striking a pose. First Sue and Linda, and now the ladies from Surrey. Back in Oxfordshire, I'm wondering if there's even more modelling to come.
This is Nigel Dawson. Nigel has been doing photography for many years, but not wedding photography.
That's
Am
right.
I right?
That's correct, yeah.
And Nigel had a sort of ad up for a couple of days on a wedding forum, offering to do a couple of weddings for free to begin to build up his portfolio. And Sue found this, and he's relatively local, and it seemed too good an opportunity to miss, really.
Can you give us a few more details on what you're offering?
Yes, one of the things that I also operate with is what we call a second shooter, so that's somebody else to assist and catch more off-angle shots. So what would happen initially is the second shooter will attend the bride's house, and it's my wife, so we've got a good working relationship, and that gives me the opportunity then to come here and get the shots of the groom and the best men. It's the whole day right through to the reception and first dance, and beyond that if there's stuff to capture. I'll provide a full high-res CD. They're all prepared and ready for printing, and it's also without any ties on copyright, so you're at full liberty to reproduce the images. So what's in it for me is being able to use the photographs in my portfolio. Obviously when you're doing wedding photography, everyone wants to see your work. Also obviously it's important I get excellent pictures because that's what I'm going to be judged on going forward.
What are your thoughts about the venue?
I love the venue because it's very historic and it's very rustic, so it gives there's a lot of opportunities to get some really good shots, both indoors and out. And of course you've got to look at all contingencies. It could be chucking it down with rain. But if we're indoors, I mean, I'll have with me studio lights anyway, and we'll have flashlights in use with soft boxes on to accommodate for that.
We have a horse coming along. Martine, the bride, has a horse, and although she doesn't know it, her mum would like her to not arrive on the horse, but be popped on the horse for photographs and for the guests to see her sort of arrive.
What's interesting here is because we've got a higher ground level over there, I mean, it gives us an opportunity to shoot at the same height as the bride on the horse, rather than being on the ground and always
a nice thought.
looking up. If you want albums, I'm happily put those together for you, and it'll be at what it cost me, and that's about £150 to put an album together. So lots of opportunities in the garden here with the wall and the natural framing. We've got the greenery over there, and this barn is fantastic. So if it rains, we can use the cover of that to still get some sort of semi-outdoor shots with some lighting in there. Now, one of the things that's great is when we've got natural frames like this, got a nice depth of field shot down with all the character of the beams. We'll do some shots here with, perhaps the bride here in the foreground, quite casual, and the groom offset in the background, and we'll reverse it, and we'll also shoot from that end because there's quite a modern window down there. So there's some lovely symmetry within the hall itself, with the way the swags are done and these beams. You've got lots of texture and detail in these, and with the fabric and everything. These windows are interesting as well. This one down here in particular, because you've got all that rustic machinery outside. If someone says to me, what makes a good wedding photographer, it's somebody that you'd have at your wedding if he wasn't the photographer, and I think.
Nigel, it's great meeting you. It was great hearing about the terms of the Credit Crunch deal as well.
No, pleasure.
Your launch deal, I should say.
Pleasure, it'd be great to help.
So we've met some fantastic photographers today, but now, as always, it's time for the all-important decisions. First, let's go to London.
So guys, we've seen two photographers today. One of the wedding team who's actually a professional photographer, Jade, and then a photography teacher. So let's talk about Jade, who is part of the wedding team and a professional wedding photographer. There's no doubt that his photos were fabulous, were they?
Amazing, they were really beautiful.
Really beautiful. Yeah. But there was a bit of a drawback in that Chickadilly and NKM have said
they don't want him taking photos because they want him to enjoy the wedding.
Right. Yeah. And then the drawback to Layla was the fact that even though she's fabulous at doing sort of close-in natural shots of people, she's got no experience as a wedding photographer.
Or very little experience. She has done a few weddings. Yeah.
Perhaps we could ask Jade to sort of be her helper.
Would it work though, having two different photographers? You might have
creative clashes.
Yeah.
So guys, having talked through all the advantages and drawback to each of the photographers, what is your final decision?
I think we should go with Layla. I really liked her photos. I think they were quite good. We get her for free as well. much as I think Jide would be great, we still sort of keep the couple happy in the sense that we're not using Jide as an official photographer. And, you know, we're both getting people for free. We get the CD-ROM. Yes, we don't get the album.
Which would be a shame, because its worth is so high.
That's true, but then it gives the couple the flexibility to sort of decide on what kind of album they want.
So a good decision, I think. It's sometimes unfair to ask close friends to work at your wedding, so going with Layla is a great choice, and I'm sure she'll do a fantastic job. So that's one decision made. Let's find out what our Surrey team have decided upon. So wedding team, we've got the mini cameras that we can put on each of the wedding tables for the reception. We've got the option to leave out CDs and stamped addressed envelopes so your wedding guests can post back photographs of the big day. Plus we've seen a professional photographer and videographer. What did you think?
I like all the ideas.
I think we'll go with the lot.
So let's talk about the videographers first of all, Emily and Stuart. What I thought was interesting was they can do stills on their camera. So if the wedding photography doesn't work out exactly how you wanted it, there is that backup option.
I think they were saying by the time that the wedding date arrives, they'll have the second camera as well to take multiple angles.
And then what did you think of Graham? Bill, Jill, Carol, you certainly look like you're enjoying the photo shoots.
I did enjoy it. Good fun.
I think just one thing you need to be really clear on is get contracts from them saying exactly what they're going to do, exactly what they're going to provide. Just because, for example, Graham was talking about providing 100 images on the CD, you know, how much is it for additional images?
There's another option. There's a good website called Photobox. You could ask your guests to put their pictures onto Photobox, and you can buy the pictures. I think they're like 10p or something.
Just a suggestion, when it comes to albums, buying an album from the photographer is generally very expensive. So it may be that Katie and Jeff want to, you know, take the time to make their own album.
And you can make them easily online. My friend made her two for her daughter. I mean, they look professional, hardback. I think they were $9.99.
So am I right in thinking you're going for all the options? Yeah. The cameras on the tables, the CDs on the tables, the photographer and the videographers?
As they prove inexpensive at the moment.
So another week and another decision's been made. Well done, wedding team.
Thank you.
So they're getting the best deal of the day. I'd be surprised if they miss anything of Katie and Jeff's big day, as they have both a photographer and a videographer. The Oxfordshire team met with a few photographers this time, who all seem very professional and extremely capable. So I wonder who impressed them the most. Sue, Linda, we've seen such a range of options today. I don't know how you're going to be able to make a decision. I'm glad it's your decision to make, not mine.
So first of all, we met Martin Cleveland. He was offering his services for free. It would just be a question of if we wanted to purchase an album. Then we had James.
I mean, his photographs were quite creative, weren't they? That shot in the bus stop and things. So perhaps he's just a bit reticent.
He was also £400 for the DVD. Nigel was the gentleman that you found on the internet. Well, and indeed he is doing other couples' weddings who have nothing to do with the show. Yes.
My only reservation about him was we weren't able to see any photographs.
I am a great believer in fate, and that sometimes things happen for a reason.
Is that a decision?
Yes.
Well done, ladies.
Wow.
We have our wedding photographer.
Photographers.
So that's all the decisions made. Join me after the break when I meet bridal boutique owner and wedding expert Fleur Hagan for the all-important judging. Before the break, our three teams chose the wedding photographers they hope will capture their couple's big day. Having all got incredibly good deals for their money, the judging is going to be really tough. Each episode, myself and Fleur Hagan, owner of Fleur Bridal in London, decide which team has performed the best and mark them out of 30. The team with the most points come the wedding day will win their couple a fabulous honeymoon. But don't worry, every couple will get a honeymoon. It just won't be as good as the top prize. So how will the judging go this time?
Hi Fleur, how are you doing?
Good, thank you, Lucy, really well.
So I think we're almost about halfway through judging. So it's been a really exciting few weeks, hasn't it?
It has. Lots of variety, lots of different things happening.
It's really nice seeing the weddings sort of take shape as we've been following them. And photography is going to be an interesting week because it's the one thing that a lot of people say you should really invest in, because your photography will last forever, whereas a lot of things you only really have on the day.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And then it's the different styles that they will choose to have their weddings in as well, which will make it really, really different. There's coffee table type sort of reportage and then the traditional. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what all the couples have chosen.
Let's have a look.
Okay.
This photographer is a friend of the family.
Brilliant.
He's done a lot of weddings before, and he also does portraiture, so he's really experienced.
Okay.
What do you think of photo books? Do you prefer those or more traditional wedding albums?
I quite like photo books, but then that's now. When I got married, I have an album.
This is a young amateur photographer who wants to break into wedding photography and therefore is offering to cover the wedding for free, including a CD of photos, just as a means of building up his portfolio. And we looked at some previous weddings he'd done, and he is amazing.
What's quite nice there too is he's not done so many weddings that it's become sort of stilted, and it's just the thing that he does time and time again.
Right.
It's fresh and new, which I think they should jump on the bandwagon with anything like that.
So the next candidate they saw had posted a notice on a digital photography forum saying that he is a professional photographer. He does a lot of portraiture, and he was looking for some weddings to cover for free so that he could build up his portfolio. He was really inspired by the venue and was running around finding different places where you might shoot things.
Great. But is he used to working outside, or is he used to working in a studio?
I think he has had experience at both. Now, the only drawback was he hasn't actually shown us any wedding photographs, so they have been able to look at his website, but we didn't have anything to see on the day.
I like the way he's commanding everybody and taking control of it. You need a photographer to have a lot of presence on a day because everyone's busy.
So. Moving on to Chickadilly and Nkem's wedding. Now, one of their wedding team is actually a professional photographer, which is extremely convenient.
It is.
But the drawback is, because he's such a good friend, they don't really want him to be taking photographs all day and missing out on all the fun.
Oh, they're lovely. Oh, you can't not have them. Or him, sorry.
We'll see what their decision was. Now, he has photographers who work into him within his sort of company, and so he could have put someone from his company on the job if he wanted to be able to relax. So the next option they found was a student teacher in photography. So she's not a professional photographer, but she's an assistant teacher on a photography course. She's only ever covered sort of 1 or 2 weddings before, but she's taken lots of photographs at events.
She's quite softly spoken. Do you think she'd be able to control a big rowdy crowd? Not that they are rowdy, but the album looks very sort of arty and quite gentle. I like it. It's very sympathetic.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I think the other one looks more slick and more wedding sort of style.
And here we are with our Surrey team. Now, they came across a photographer who is very experienced in fashion photography, and his photographs really are fabulous. But actually, it's not his full-time job. His full-time job is a taxi driver. He's offering all his photographs on a CD free of charge.
Wow, okay.
And I think you'd be really pleased with his portfolio. I really like it.
So he's, again, sitting in their venue, a little bit less inspiring for a photographer, this venue, but still it's going to be interesting working with the inside and then the outside.
Yeah, and they've got really nice gardens there, so there's lots of potential for really good photographic backdrop there. This team were the only team to look at a videographer as well. And even though wedding videos have a reputation for being a bit tacky, I think it's so essential to have a videographer there. They haven't done weddings before, and so they're hoping to break into wedding videography to do full-time.
Good for them.
You do want to capture the essence of the day, because of the best will in the world, photography doesn't necessarily do that.
No, it's nice to have a moving image, definitely.
So, judging time.
Scores on the doors.
Katie and Jeff, first of all. Practicability. They've chosen a man who's got experience in photography, but not wedding photography.
No.
However, we've seen his portfolio and it's really fabulous. They've also found a pair of videographers who work together. They don't have any experience in weddings, but they have got film school background and they've covered family events. They're also going down the route of having disposable cameras on each of the tables.
I love that idea. I think it's great. Yeah.
It's good, but sometimes you can get a few drunken snaps that don't really... It does mean you get a much more personal viewpoint of the day because you've got 10 photographers rather than just your one official one. So for practicability, I think they've been pretty practical there. They've seen their portfolios. They're not taking a massive risk.
No.
I'm going to give them 9 out of 10.
Me too. In terms of creativity, they've covered every angle. They've got something for their guests, something to remember their guests, and then they've also got a moving image as well. I think they've done really well. I quite like to give them 10 out of 10, I think, for creativity.
10 out of 10? Well, I agree they've been quite creative, but I don't think they deserve quite full marks. So I'm going to give them 8 out of 10, making it 9 out of 10 overall. But money saved, I'm going to be a bit more generous on. They've got a videographer and a professional photographer, and they haven't spent a penny. The only money they'll have spent is on albums, if they choose to buy them after the event, and on those disposable cameras. So on that basis, I'm going to give them 10 out of 10.
I definitely think that for money saving, they should definitely have 10 out of 10.
So that gives them a whopping 28 out of 30. The Surrey team are catching up.
They really are. They're doing really well.
Moving on to the Oxford team. Practicability. They haven't seen any wedding shots at all, but they've seen some portraiture stuff of him. So there is a small risk element there. I guess ultimately you have to choose a photographer you connect with most.
Absolutely.
On that basis, I'm going to give them 8 out of 10 for practicability.
I'm going to give them 7 out of 10.
Overall, that gives us a 7.5 out of 10. Creativity, I think going onto the internet, looking at photography forums is a really interesting way to go about it. So I'm going to give them 9 out of 10.
I definitely agree with you. I think for creativity, they really, really have stretched themselves.
Then money saved, well, they haven't spent a penny. They're going to get their photographs on a CD for free. I'm going to have to give them 9 out of 10.
I totally agree.
So that gives the Oxford team 25.5 out of 30.
Not a bad score at all.
So on to the London team, Chickadilly and Nkem. Practicability. I'm going to give them 8 out of 10, I think.
I'm going to give them 7 out of 10 because I think they're taking a larger risk than they realise.
Creativity. They actually phoned up the local photography school, said are there any students who'd be keen to build up their portfolio, and she's actually an assistant teacher, so I think that's a really creative way of going about it.
I agree.
I'm going to give them 9 out of 10.
I agree, definitely.
And then money saved. One thing I think this team really missed out was Jude, the photographer within their team, was offering an album of all their photos as well as covering their photography off on the day.
So maybe it's an 8 out of 10.
I'm going to give them 9 out of 10, which I guess overall will give them 8.5 out of 10. That gives them 25 out of 30.
So after posing and flashing, the scores look like this. In third place, but only 10 points away, are the Surrey team with 118 points. And for the first time this series, we have a tie for first, with both London and Oxfordshire on 128.5 points. Which couple's going to walk away with that dream honeymoon? With 4 weeks left, it's all still to play for. Join us next time when we get our motors running as our team look at wedding transport.
I need a herd of cows to lasso now.
Hello there. So guys, is that the ride of your life?